Hey everyone, welcome back to Wimpy Studio. Welcome to this episode of Wimpy Studio News and Reviews. Today I'm going to be talking about Andor Season 2, Episodes 7, 8, and 9, When Hope Calls Season 2, Episode 5, and my review, long awaited, of Sweet Magnolias Season 4. So, less to talk about today, mostly just TV show recaps. There hasn't been a ton of news overall with the TV shows or movies that I watch. So just kind of going to be touching on the TV shows today. So these 3 episodes of Andor were really strong episodes, I thought. The first one was just okay. It was definitely a setup for the next 2. But episodes 8 and 9, especially episode 9, were really strong episodes. And definitely the strongest of this season so far. Which I feel like, with the exception of episode 3 and parts of episode 6, I do feel like this season's kind of been hit or miss. Like, it's not been bad, but it's not been great either. I think it's just been very slow. It's been kind of boring. There's been, like, good moments in every episode, but there's just... And it's not filler. There's no filler in this show. There's just a lot of long dialogue, and it's sometimes hard to pick up what is happening when there's just so many different characters, different storylines, different plots, and it's just hard to keep track of. But in this episode, I feel like I understood what was going on. The Gorman massacre was crazy, and I did not know what was going to happen. Like, I really didn't. I mean, the scene where Cyril almost chokes out Daedra, I was shocked, and I thought for sure Daedra was going down, and Cyril was either going to kill her or Cassian was going to be successful. I mean, he got close several times, but he just failed every time. I mean, she didn't come out of where she was hiding. She stayed in the glass the whole time. But I knew either Cyril or Daedra were going to go down. I did not expect Cyril to go out the way he did. I also did not expect his fight with Cassian. I probably should have said spoilers ahead, but I also figure that you've watched the 3 episodes if you're listening to this part of the episode, if you watch Andor at all. But yeah, I was not expecting that fight. I mean, I guess it's kind of been building up this whole show. I just feel like the fight didn't really seem very personal because there's not a strong connection between them. But I did like when Cassian said, "Who are you?" Because Cyril has always had an edge to him. But this season in particular, he's definitely taken a turn to the dark side. He's made more mistakes, but we find out he's been this guinea pig that Daedra and I don't know what his name is, nor do I care. The old guy that starts with the P, the old guy and Daedra have been working together and making Cyril this guinea pig, and he finds out and he's upset. And his character, he wasn't done dirty, because I never loved his character. I mean, he was interesting, but I wasn't like emotionally attached to his character, so I didn't feel a whole lot when he died. I was just kind of shocked the way it happened. Like, he just got shot in the head and boom, he was down. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, that was very abrupt, and it's not really addressed in episode 9. No, I'm going to assume that in the next few episodes, or last 3 episodes, which is crazy, that's going to be part of Daedra's plot, and I think Cyril's mother is still going to be part of it. Like, I think Cyril's mother has just, in this show in general, she's gotten a lot of screen time, which we're not really used to seeing for a supporting character having, like, that, their family member having that big of a role. However, I feel like she's going to serve a purpose, and I do think, similar to how, like, Daedra completely destroyed Cyril's mother earlier in this season, I think Cyril's mom is going to do the same right back to Daedra. And now, what do I think is going to happen with Daedra, I'm sorry. I don't know. I do think she's going to die. Like, whether it's by suicide or maybe by Cyril's mother, I don't know. Or maybe the old white man or someone from ISB. I don't think she's surviving this, because her character, I mean, it could still serve some purpose if they want to write her into a complete villain, but I just don't see that happening, because we saw her break down at the end of episode 8. She regretted what she did to Cyril, and she regretted it earlier on too. You could see it in her eyes when Cyril was choking her out. Like, she regretted what she did to him and what situation she put him in. So I don't see them turning her into a big villain, so at this point I think she's just done so. Like, I don't see where her character could go. I was almost thinking she was going to kill herself right then and there at the end of 8, but I think that would have been a bit too much to kill off two characters back to back like that. Um, I think Daedra is going to be a big death of these next three episodes, so I'm definitely expecting that. Um, and I do think Cyril's mother is going to get involved and there'll be some kind of justice for Cyril. I mean, again, he was never a great guy, but I do think deep down he was misunderstood and he had layers to him. And Daedra had layers to her as well that we've seen over the show too. But it's clear that she screwed him over. If I truly do believe that. So she's going to have to live with these consequences. I just don't think she's going to be able to, and I think that she's going to axe herself or get axed by someone close to her in the ISB. I mean, we can maybe see Cassian or Will killing her. I just feel like they would kind of be a bit like that overused, considering like that they tried to do that for 3 episodes and they failed. So I don't really see them trying to do that again. I think she'll just kill herself is my guess, but we'll see. Episode 8 was strong. I thought episode 9 was even stronger because we have the aftermath of this Gorman massacre. First of all, I'm kind of surprised by how big of a role Bail Organa is getting in this season. I mean, he's like an iconic character, or I guess I don't know if iconic's the right word, but he's like a central character in the Star Wars universe. He's popped up in a lot of different things. From Obi, he was in Obi-Wan, right? He was in the 3rd movie. I mean, he was in several different things and Star Wars related. So I'm glad that they're kind of giving his character a bigger role in this and kind of being a support system to Mon Mothma. And also, Mon was like great in this episode, like definitely her best she's ever been in Andor. And I mentioned this earlier in the season. Mon Mothma is my favorite character. I think she's awesome, and obviously she does survive, and I assume everyone knows that, considering she was in episode 4 and she was in Ahsoka. Everyone knows that she survives this show, which makes me happy because I don't have to worry about her getting killed off, and I can just enjoy her character for what it is without having to live in fear about it. But I want to read part of her speech because her speech very much reminded me of how some politicians, especially women, and unfortunately more liberal women, there is just this big group of people trying to shut down what she's trying to say, stop it. And that's basically what happened in this episode. And I definitely felt a lot of political tie-ins to the real world during this whole storyline with them trying to shut her speech down, and even parts of what she was saying. And here's what I thought. Of all things at risk, the loss of an objective reality is perhaps the most dangerous. The death of truth is the ultimate victory of evil. When truth leaves us, when we let it slip away, when it's ripped from our hands, we become vulnerable to the appetite of whatever monster screams the loudest. And I thought, oh my gosh, that is actually so true. And it just sucks that these people are trying to like tear down her speech. I mean, I get it. I get why they did. Just like, this is such a good speech. Keep it going, applaud. Like, I don't know. So that was a bummer, but I do think what she said was really strong. And I do think Cassian coming in to save her, in that whole sequence with the people trying to kill her. Like, I thought all of that was really good and very engaging. And we've seen this season, episode 3 had action, episode 6 had some action, not a whole lot, and then episodes 8 and 9 back-to-back had a lot of action, so I was not expecting another episode like the last one. I mean, this one was less extreme. The Gorman Massacre was very ugly, like, to say the least. It was, like, raunchy. I was not expecting that. This episode, it wasn't as ugly at all. I mean, it was mostly political drama and all of that. No major casualties. I mean, we do find out that Will's going to be okay. They're taking him to in a hospital somewhere. And Luthen's back briefly. He sends Cassian to save Mon Mothma. Now, Luthen's been such a wild card, and I just don't know what they're going to do with this character. I mean, I feel like they might kill him off in the next 3 episodes. I think him and Daedra and maybe Bix. I don't know about Bix. Probably Bix. I think those 3 are getting killed off for sure. Luthen, I like Luthen in season 1, and I like him in season 2 as well. I just feel like his presence has been kind of spotty in season 2, and it's kind of hard to keep track of him. I mean, Clea was in this episode, and she had her hair long, and I could barely recognize her. I don't think she's a super necessary character, in my opinion. they were kind of setting up this like friendship. I mean, obviously they work together, but friendship with her and Luthen. So I mean, like, what's the point if they're gonna kill him off? Like, I feel like they gave that character way too much screen time, in my opinion, Clea. But especially if they're just gonna kill Luthen off, which I think they're gonna do. I think he's done. I think Daedra's done, and I think Bix is done because the episode ends with Cassian and Bix briefly reunite, but then she leaves, and then he runs after her, and I know it's kind of like, come on, that's such soap opera to have him chasing after her. I'm like, that was a bit cringy. Regardless, though, she's gone, and I do think he's gonna search for her, and he's gonna get very close to finding her, and then she's gonna be dead, and I think that's gonna set up perfectly for his journey in Rogue One. Like, I would not be surprised if that's the finale or maybe episode 11 that he finds her dead. I think we're going to get a death in each episode of this next arc, is my guess. I don't think they're going to cram it all into the last episode or something. I think they're going to spread it out a bit. But I do think that's kind of what's going to be set up. Now, Vel, we saw her briefly because we see Melshi, and the guy who Castian escaped with last season was Cyril's, and he had Cyril's blaster or whatever. I guess they're kind of setting up like that to be a little arc in the third. I don't know. I don't think they're gonna kill Vel. I mean, maybe they will, just so then she could reunite with Senta. You know, just for like the fans, like knowing that they're together. Again, I don't know. I feel like if they did kill her off, with how much is probably gonna happen, it might feel a little bit cheap. But then again, Senta's death felt cheap too. So at this point, I don't really care what they do with Vel's character. So, yeah. I thought these 3 episodes were good. Like, really good. Definitely the strongest arc. And I would say episode 9, I mean, parts of 8, but 9 was my favorite of this season. And I don't know. Season 1, it's hard for me to pinpoint particular episodes. I mean, the finale was really strong. Of season 1, very engaging. I have no doubt that the season 2 finale is going to be even better, especially because it's the last of the show. So I'm not worried about that. But yeah, comment down below what you thought of these 3 episodes of Andor and what you're speculating for the final 3 episodes of the series. So moving on to When Hope Calls, episode 5. I thought this was once again a strong episode. I'm liking the season a lot. I like the new characters. I like the new dynamics. I like how the show just feels so simple and so grounded compared to When Calls the Heart. Now, there is one caveat with that I'll explain in a minute, where I think When Calls the Heart is stronger at. But basically, we find out that Sam's gold claim has been like denied because apparently another person prospected the land before him and claimed there is no gold. Now Sam says that was not true and no one had been worked on that land before him. So Nora has to go and figure this out. Michael goes with her because he has business to attend to in Franklin. So they go off and do that. And then someone from the Children's Bureau named Miss Ainsworth comes, and she's just basically helping out until Nora gets back. So she's helping out with Eleanor, who wasn't even in this episode. But she's helping out there. And she's very much like a prim, proper, do your chores, do them correctly, blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking we all have had a teacher like Miss Ainsworth while we were in school. I mean, I had a teacher who was not the kindest, to say the least. Like, Miss Ainsworth was nice compared to this teacher that I had. She grabbed chalk. We were doing cursive on the chalkboard. She grabbed the chalk out of our hands, threw it on the ground, and made us cry. And I get that, like, back in the day, kids went through way worse stuff. I just don't think that happens now. Now, granted, this was a substitute teacher, but it was for 2nd grade. And 2nd grade, my teacher had a lot of health issues, so she was out a lot. So then we were stuck with this old lady. And then she brought in candy to bribe the students, which is kind of funny, considering they were all eating lollipops. And then Miss Ainsworth gave the one kid that stayed behind a lollipop. And I just thought, oh gosh, candy. Connecting candy with this teacher brings back some memories. Now, granted, she wasn't doing it to bribe the kids, thankfully. My substitute, like, she brought in candy to, like, bribe us to try to make us like her, but nobody really liked her. Maybe if like a few people did. And then she had these like huge earrings too. Like they were huge. And yeah, I did not like her at all. That's not relevant, I know, to anything that we're talking about with this show. It just she reminded me parts of her personality did, but these kids got lucky with Miss Ainsworth. And I thought it was so funny when they all went to the infirmary because they did not want to be around her and they faked being sick. I'm like, that's such a classic thing to do, and unfortunately in school you can't get away with that. I mean, your parent could call you in sick, but the problem is you don't know when you're getting a substitute. Like I didn't know when this my substitute was gonna like come. Otherwise I would have planned my days accordingly. And if this happened in a high school, trust me, I would have my day like if I knew that a substitute was gonna be there, I'm skipping that day. I'm sorry. I couldn't deal with that. Now granted, there's no chalkboards in classrooms anymore, but whatever. So Nora goes to this office in Franklin. There's this guy named Henry Smith who's just very sus. Like, we know right away he's involved in this. Somehow he won't let her look at these claims. He says, you gotta wait for my supervisor to come back. And then Michael comes in and stages, like, an intervention. So then Nora can look at the sheets, and she finds out that there are 3 claims from Rufus Shepard, which is definitely very suspicious. So then they go to Rufus Shepard's address, and then Nora slips in while Michael stays outside. We find out that Henry Smith lives here, and there's a dog inside the house, and we find out that the dog is actually Rufus Shepard. So this guy created a fake name and made up these fake land claims. I mean, come on, how pathetic is that? I'm sorry. That's gotta be like one of the worst explanations to an issue in this universe, like including When Calls to the Heart. And I'm sorry, the fight scene in the cabin was so cringe. Like When Calls to the Heart has a way better budget for that type of stuff. Like their mount, like Nathan and Bill actually make a good team and they solve these issues like pretty entertainingly. Nora and Michael, I'm sorry, they need to take lessons from Nathan and Bill because they are just. And I get it. I think it was kind of supposed to be cringy. Just like the way they were both stepping on him to try to get it, like the gun out of his hand, was just so funny to me. And I'm like, come on, like this is just so cringy. I guess that's kind of what made it funny, though. But they take the dog back with them, and then they have that moment where their hands touch. I'm like, oh, they're setting up something there. We knew they were. I don't know if they'll kiss before the season's over. They might stretch it out into season 3, but they're cute together. I like their banter. You know, at first it was like an enemies to lovers, but now they're not enemies. They give each other a hard time a little bit, but they're there for each other. That I like them. They're cute together for sure. So we also have at the Lawrence Ranch, Hannah is struggling because she's just not a ranch hand. She's trying to be, but she's not, and Wyatt's making it clear that he does not want her to be there on the ranch. You know, she's fine with her staying in the house, doing what she wants to do, but he doesn't really want her out with the ranchers just because she doesn't think she's fit for it, which she's not really. Like, you would look at her, and I mean, the banker guy was right. Like, you don't really look like a rancher. You're not a rancher. It's kind of hard to trust. I mean, and nowadays, I think things would be very different. Like, I think a woman would be fine. And we've seen plenty of woman ranchers nowadays, too. Back then, it was a male-dominated world. I mean, we see it with Lucy, who's the foreman. Now, granted, foreman's a little bit different, but clearly she's accepted because she's had experience. Hannah doesn't have any experience at all. And granted, I don't know if Lucy would get the Stewart Ranch, necessarily. Like, maybe she would. I don't know. But yeah, basically there's this thing that Hannah has to sign, like in order to get the loan. That means that Wyatt like has to agree and sign a contract to make sure that he doesn't quit. Like he and for the loan, like he has to stay honest foreman because the banker guy thinks that, you know, Hannah can't run this ranch on her own, that Wyatt needs to be there because he actually knows what he's doing. So this whole ranch, the future of it, is dependent on Wyatt. And Hannah says you need to sign this contract. Wyatt says, you know, me and your uncle did everything, like just shaking hands. That's how we operated. That's how we ran. Which, I mean, fair enough. But it doesn't make it any easier for Hannah, who just wants him to sign this, and so they can get their loan. We also have this bit of a connection with Lucy and Wyatt, where they kind of talk about their past. We find out that Wyatt didn't really have a good relationship with his parents. Then he left to the rodeo and never came back, which is interesting. Like, definitely more of that story that I assume we'll find out in the future. Lucy says that she seems to have a difficult relationship with her father. He doesn't like that she's working for Tess, but her brother's getting their ranch. So, I don't know. Um, Almost felt like they were setting up a little love triangle there. Now, clearly not. Like, I don't know. Maybe. I'm going to assume probably not. But I wouldn't be surprised if maybe next season there's a little bit of a love triangle there. I have no doubt that it'll be Hannah and Wyatt, though. They're just setting their... It just makes perfect sense. Like, the niece of the owner and the foreman. I mean, it's like a classic love story right there, built from the start. I mean, now granted, usually like the Ray would be there in that case in that type of storyline, but he's not, which I guess probably makes it a bit easier and less tension, or maybe more, whichever way you look at it. But yeah, Hannah tries to help out one of the ranch hands, and then she ends up falling on and falling into the hay and hurting her leg, and she's starting to realize maybe this isn't for me, and and Maggie tells her, we kind of trust each other around here, and I think Ray trusted Wyatt, so I think you should take his word for staying or not, and I think Wyatt will learn to respect you with time if you're willing to just trust him. And then so by the end, she says, I trust you, and we're not going to sign this contract. We're just going to shake hands on it. And I liked how she kind of went to his level, and they did that. I thought that was really cool. The ending, though, there's been this whole loop of maybe wolves attacking or taking away their cattle, or maybe grizzlies now. But by the end, they say that they're down 24 head, like Wyatt is, which means that there's a bigger issue, and I assume humans are stealing their cattle. That's just my guess. I think it's going to be that corporation that Tessa's old friend or enemy or whatever was working with last episode at the auction. I almost think maybe they're stealing their cattle because the corporation's upset that Hannah shut off the auction. I think that they're upset, so they're doing this for revenge. Maybe. I don't know. Or maybe if it's been continuous even before then maybe it's just these group of people being assholes and just stealing their cattle, because that's just what people do, unfortunately. In all areas of life, people just love to steal and take things from others, and it's unfortunate, but, I thought that was interesting, setting up something for the finale. I assume they're gonna take on whoever's behind this, the stealing. I assume it's humans. I don't think this show can afford bears and wolves, sorry. I mean, we saw it with that fight scene. This show does not have a high budget, and that's okay. They don't need to. But we also had this cute moment between Maggie and Sam where Maggie says she wants kids, and Sam it was a little bit awkward about it at first, because they were taking care of the kids in the infirmary together. But they have to kiss in the finale, right? They're already talking about kids. Like, they have to kiss. Usually the kiss comes before the kids conversation. So I will be kind of disappointed if they don't kiss in the finale. But he gets his land claim figured out, so it seems finally Sam's gonna get some happiness. And he's been struggling this season with his purpose while he waited for this land claim to be figured out. He worked on a ranch, he worked at the cafe. Now he's finally getting that sorted out. And I'm glad for him, and I'm hoping him and Maggie have a future together. So this was another good episode. Again, liking the season a lot. Looking forward to the finale, which I'll talk about next week. Okay, so finally, Sweet Magnolias Season 4. It took me and my mom forever to finish this season, but we finished it. I thought this season was okay. I thought it started off pretty strong. I thought it started off with Maddie and Cal's surprise wedding on Halloween, which was a lot of fun. And then we had Bill dying, which wasn't fun, but it was definitely a very well-handled storyline with Bill's mom and being the worst, and Maddie protecting her kids and standing up for them. And while all those characters were working through their grief, I thought, honestly, the first half of Season 4 was really strong, I would say. Annie and Ty finally getting together was really great to see. Now, granted, he leaves halfway through, but once again, episodes 1 through 5 were definitely strong. Like, I would say they were not perfect, but they were strong episodes. And then, of course, Helen and Eric being with other people, and then finding their way back to each other as the episodes go on, and then they kiss at the end of 5 was really sweet, too. Honestly, I think episodes 6 through 9 were a lot of filler. Like, a lot. I think that's where I struggled the most with this season. Now, I had other issues with it. Noreen is a consistent issue. I do not like her character. I do not like the actress. I'm sorry. I think a lot of people would agree with me there. She just does not add anything to this plot. Her and her farmer boyfriend and their daughter just don't really serve a purpose. And in the finale, her daughter gets a gift from Bill, and I completely forgot that was his kid. I mean, I guess that's the only purpose that they serve anymore, is the fact that that's Bill's daughter. And whatever. It's not a big deal. I just don't think her character needs to be around. I don't care about the mobile clinic that she has going on with Howie. I don't care about her friendship with Isaac. I don't care about her friendship with the woman. I just don't care. She just needs to leave, and maybe she will leave. Maybe she's gonna finally be gone in season 5, or maybe she'll show up for like one episode, and her and Jeremy would have gotten married or something. But I just don't care. Probably she'll be in it. They would have kicked her off already. They would have kicked her off after maybe season 2, because her purpose had already been served by the end of that season when she had her baby and she was starting her redemption. She did not need to be in these last 2 seasons. Just not necessary at all. So Noreen was one of my issues. Another one of my issues was Cal's storyline. At first, I liked that he was struggling with being a stepdad and finding his role, but then they quickly pivoted to just him being dumb and overworking himself and falling down the stairs and pretending like he's fine. And, I don't know. I just thought that was all a bit lazy. And I would have liked if they utilized his mom a bit more. Like, maybe his mom came and he would wrestle with his past and she helped him. Like, I think there was an interesting plot line there, but instead they just made him kind of be a bit dumb, and I don't know. I think his character could have had a way better arc this season, because we've seen his arc over the course of, especially the first 2 seasons, and maybe a little bit of season 3, but I don't like season 3 at all, but we've seen him have a good arc where he dealt with his anger issues and overcame them with Maddie. And in this season, I felt like we could, I get they don't want to focus too much on his past where it looks like he's regressing. I just feel like they could have done a better job with him finding his place as a stepdad. And also, it just came too easy. The kids never had a problem with Cal. They never did. There was no tension there. They accepted him. They supported him. They liked him. So there's no reason for him to struggle with that. I understood him overworking himself at the restaurant. I understand that part of it, and I think that was somewhat of an interesting plot line. I just feel like it wasn't strong enough. For a character that was relatively interesting early on, he's just not interesting anymore. Maddie and Cal are still cute together, just this season they became kind of boring. Sorry. Another issue I had was the whole Helen and Peggy storyline. Peggy is trying to pick up the pieces as mayor from everything that Trent left for her. He left her a disaster, basically, for her to have to deal with. So Helen's been helping her out a lot, but Helen's basically been doing her job for her. She's been doing more than she should in the assistant role. And the thing is that we waited so long for Peggy to find her place that for her just to kind of be angsty and not doing what she's supposed to this whole season was kind of disappointing. I wanted to see more from her. She should have been the one after the storm going around and doing, helping out. I've seen that. We've seen politicians in the real world after natural disasters or disasters in general. We've seen them. We've seen AOC, and we've seen other people step up and jump to a cause and help out there. And Peggy just didn't do that. She stayed in her office. She hid behind, bills, and that's just what she did. And I would have liked to see at the end of the season her kind of getting out there and doing something. I would have liked to see after the storm, but I wish they resolved that. That was disappointing to me because I like her character, but this season not really. Again, Noreen, I didn't like Noreen in general before the season. So whatever, but Cal and Peggy, I would say, were definitely more disappointments this season for sure. Dana Sue wasn't my favorite this season either, but she had already started to annoy me before, so that's not really surprising. I feel like she's just too dramatic with everything, and Helen kind of is too, but Dana Sue's worse at it. Just the way she reacted to Ronnie's whole motorcycle thing, I understand her being upset with him buying it without asking her or telling her, But like the way she reacted to his whole bike thing, or his eco bike whatever thing at first, was kind of bizarre. Like, I don't know. I think she has some anger issues that she needs to work out herself, and I hope season 5 they do that, because she's just not. I mean, she has nice moments. She had good scenes with Annie this season, but I don't know. I don't love her character, but I didn't love it before. I liked her a lot in season 1. She was my favorite of the 3 then. Now she's my least favorite. Maddie's my favorite, for sure. And Maddie probably used to be my least favorite. I just felt like she was a little bit bland. But season 4, she was really good. And she definitely was like the voice of reason and the one you can relate to the most and just relatively enjoy. Where Helen and Dana Sue were just... I mean, Helen was fine. Season 3 is when I didn't like Helen. But season 4, Helen was fine. But yeah, there were some things I enjoyed, though, in season 4. Maddie's... was overall a consistent character. I liked her helping out the community. I liked her giving the interviews. I liked her arc with the children's book. I liked her connecting with that librarian and building a friendship there. Maddie was consistently a great character this season. I thought, like, Annie was good this season too, especially after Ty left, where she figured out her purpose and decided she wanted to go to this art school, and she pushed for that to happen. Now, I don't know whether Annie and Ty... what's going to happen there, because he pushed at the end of the season when he came back from his tour that he wanted her to come to Europe with him and defer the California school. And I'm like, whoa, dude, you do not just tell her to defer or ask her to defer. That is completely unreasonable. That you guys are not engaged, you're not married. She's still in high school. You know, it's just, that was crazy to me. Like, come on, you were sounding like your dad there. So I'm worried about them for season 5. I think they'll be fine, but I'm worried for them for short term, because that was the only thing they left, like, kind of hanging, really. I thought the finale, though, was a good a great episode. I did not have any issues with the finale. You know, Isaac and Michael, they kiss. I liked Isaac developing a relationship with his new family. I would like to next season to see more of him and Maddie connect. And maybe more of him and Ty, because he connected with Kyle and he's been connected with Cal. So I like Isaac coming into the fold, and I hope maybe Michael will come into the fold too there. I like them together. They're cute. We don't see a lot of gay representation, or really none at all in this show, so I did appreciate that. Kyle and Lily, they're sweet, but they're like that couple. Like, they're fine small doses of, but I don't need whole plots about them. So I thought the whole plot line with him and Deb and Lily was not my favorite, but whatever. I guess it's teenagers, so it's fine. I don't particularly go through anything like what they go through, nor do I see it, but whatever. But yeah, I think it was a decent season, stronger than season 3 overall, but I do feel like there was a lot of filler in the back half of the season that I felt like this season could have been 6 episodes and it would have been fine. Like, the first 5 and then episode 6 be the finale. Or be the finale. Like, the finale we got, which was really strong. Or maybe even 8. If you just would have shaved off 2 episodes, that would have eliminated a lot of the filler. Because I want to watch interesting plots. I'm fine with a little bit of filler, but there was way too much filler in, like, episodes 7, 8, and 9. Especially 8. I think 8 was the one with that stupid cooking show with Dana Sue. Like, that was like the worst scene in the entire show. I'm sorry. That was so cringy. Like, what was the point? Like, there's no point in that scene. It was just so weird and awkward and weird again. But whatever. Yeah, comment down below, what did you think of season 4 of Sweet Magnolias? We know they're getting a season 5, and we're to assume that we're going to see Maddie, I guess, take that job in New York. We might see... maybe she'll be in it less, maybe. But I assume we'll see her in New York, and maybe the Helen and Dana Sue will visit her in New York. I think that'll be an episode, or we'll see that in season 5. Helen and Eric will get married, I'm sure, in season 5. Ronnie will do his motorcycle thing. Dana Sue will, I guess, continue her teaching kitchen. I hope they can make that more interesting than what it was this season, because I just wasn't too interested in her plot line. with the teaching kitchen. I thought it was just kind of boring. Cal, I don't really know. I hope they give him something more interesting next season. Kyla and Lily, whatever. Annie and Ty, I'm hopeful they can work their stuff out, and Ty can hopefully realize that he's being like his dad and apologize to Annie, and they can hopefully figure something out, because I do like them together a lot. They're really cute. It's hard to support them when he's just acting like a complete douche to her. Isaac and Michael are, of course, cute. Looking forward to more of them. I thought the whole little relationship between Maddie's mom and her rich boyfriend is just funny. Like, he is creating opportunity for everyone. He created it for, who is it? Ronnie's thing. He created it for Maddie and her job. Like, that's his whole role. It's kind of a random relationship, but they're kind of cute together. I mean, this show pairs everyone off. Like, the only people that aren't really paired off, like main characters, are, let me just think. I'm trying to come up with one. I mean, I guess like Helen's mom, we saw her in the finale. Cal's mom, like a few of them. Of course, Katie's not, because she's just a little girl. But like, everyone's paired off in the show, which is fine, I guess. It's just like, not everyone needs a relationship. I thought, and then the pastor having her baby in the middle of service was so funny. I'm glad they resolved that, because I'm like, is it really necessary to drag out having her baby and in the next season? Like, she got so big, like really big. So yeah, I don't know. That's all though. Yeah, let me know your thoughts on season 4 down below, and whether you're looking forward to season 5 or not. Next week, I know I'll have Andor, the last 3 episodes, and the finale of When Hope Calls season 2. I don't know what else. We'll see what else comes up throughout the week. But thanks everyone for listening. I'll see you guys next week. Have a good week. Bye, everyone.